Hey film fans, welcome to CinePro, your ultimate hub for all movie recaps. From heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters, after the end of the world due to nuclear war, the Earth became completely barren. Humans divided into many gangs, fighting each other over food, water, ammunition, and gas. So, what will happen? This is the summary of the movie Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga 2024. The movie begins in a village called the Green Valley, with two girls named Furiosa and Valkyrie. Furiosa was picking an apple from a tree, and she and her sister were happy and cheerful. But suddenly, Furiosa hears the sound of a gang in the area. Furiosa gets worried and tells Valkyrie to hide. Furiosa sneaks off and tries to sabotage the gang's motorcycles to prevent them from escaping. However, one of the gang members sees her, so she stabs him with a knife and runs away, blowing her whistle to alert her mother, Mary. Mary senses her daughter is in danger and starts moving with the villagers. Meanwhile, the gang members chase Furiosa and manage to capture her. They take her on a motorcycle and leave, but Mary and the villagers arrive too late. Mary and her friend Vivian chase after them. Vivian manages to shoot one of the gang members, slowing him down. Mary finishes him off with a knife, kills him, and takes his motorcycle. She orders Vivian to stay behind. Vivian gives her ammunition, wishes her luck, and hopes she gets her daughter back safely. Mary sets off and manages to take down another gang member. Now only two gang members are left, the one carrying Furiosa and another. The gang stops to see who is chasing them. Furiosa takes advantage of their distraction, grabs the leaking fuel hose with her mouth, and tries to escape. The two gang members argue about whether to let Furiosa go or not. While they are distracted, Furiosa tries to run away, but they ultimately catch her and continue their journey to their village. Mary was still following them and saw them entering their village. From a distance, Mary kills another gang member. Now only the gang member carrying Furiosa is left. This man, named Tao, returns to his village and meets the village leader's assistant, Norton. Norton questions Tao about Furiosa, asking where he found her. Norton is very surprised by Furiosa, as girls who look healthy like her are rare in the world now. Tao tells him he found her in a village rich in resources and refuses to reveal its location to anyone except their leader, Dementus, so he can take all the credit. Norton agrees and allows Tao to meet Dementus. Tao takes Furiosa to Dementus, but Furiosa manages to escape, sabotages his motorcycle, and causes him severe injuries. Norton takes Furiosa to Dementus and explains that she is from a resource-rich village. Dementus's men examine Furiosa and confirm that she is indeed healthy. Dementus orders Tao, the one who captured Furiosa, to be brought in. However, Tao is dying and unable to speak or reveal the location of Furiosa's village. Dementus's men pressure Tao to draw a map of the village, but Furiosa intervenes and kills him quickly. Tao dies. Dementus calmly speaks to Furiosa, telling her he will return her to her village tomorrow. However, Dementus secretly plans to use Furiosa to find her village, attack it, and seize its resources. He orders two of his men to take Furiosa to a tent, look after her, and keep her under guard. Meanwhile, Mary disguises herself in the clothes of one of the gang members and sneaks into the village to rescue Furiosa. She kills the men guarding the tent, enters, and kills the men inside. Only one woman who appears helpless is left and begs Mary for mercy. Mary spares her, takes her daughter, and escapes. The helpless woman alerts the gang about what happened. The gang shoots at Mary's fuel tank, causing her clothes to catch fire. Mary discards the burning clothes and keeps moving. After a few minutes, she stops and hears the gang approaching on motorcycles. Furiosa notices that Mary has been injured on her back from the fire, but Mary doesn't care and continues the escape. Although the sandstorm erases Mary's motorcycle tracks, the gang uses dogs to sniff out the blood from Mary's wounds, helping them track her. Mary realizes this and decides to sacrifice herself so her daughter can live. She orders Furiosa to continue on her own to the Green Valley village, promising to delay the gang while Furiosa escapes. Furiosa initially refuses, but Mary commands her to obey. Mary gives her a seed and asks her to plant it in the village when she returns. Furiosa takes the motorcycle and leaves. Mary confronts Dementus's men and manages to kill many of them, but in the end, they capture her. Furiosa sees this from afar and decides to return to save her. She sees them hanging her mother from a tree and torturing her. Furiosa runs to her, desperate to free her, but Dementus captures her. He tells her to reveal the location of her village, or he will kill her mother. Furiosa remains silent and refuses to speak. Dementus forces her to watch her mother die in front of her eyes. He keeps Furiosa captive. The next day, Dementus and his men set out into the desert. One of Dementus's men tries to escape the gang, but Dementus catches him. He decides to punish him by tying all his limbs to 5 motorcycles. He orders 20 of his men to fight to the death, and the 5 survivors will ride the motorcycles to tear the man's limbs from his body. Dementus's men fight brutally. Furiosa watches this madness from her cage, realizing that Dementus and his men are insane, and that her future with them will be harsh. The next day, Dementus ventures into the desert to search for food and water. Furiosa remains in her cage with an old man named the Historian. The Historian offers to teach Furiosa how to write, but she refuses. At night, we see Furiosa secretly teaching herself to write, drawing stars on her hand to remember the way back to the Green Valley village. Later, Dementus and his men encounter an injured stranger on the road. The stranger believes he is in heaven. Dementus is puzzled by him and asks where he is from. The man replies that he is from a city called Citadel, ruled by someone named Joe, who controls his people in an unusual way. The stranger believes he died defending Joe, and thus, he is in heaven. Dementus understands that this man believes in strange beliefs and realizes from his words that the city of Citadel has food and drink. Dementus manages to convince him to lead them to Citadel. After a while, Dementus and his men arrive at the city of Citadel with the intention of conquering the entire city. He speaks to the people and tells them, "I will free you from the tyranny of Joe. Just cooperate with me, and you will be liberated from him." The city's people were living in poverty and hunger, but despite that, they were calm, and no one responded to Dementus. Joe's assistant speaks to Dementus and tells him to choose anyone from Joe's men. Dementus chooses one of them, and Joe orders that person to commit suicide. Indeed, the person commits suicide without any objection. Dementus understands that Joe's men are willing to sacrifice their lives for him. Joe's assistant tells Dementus, "You and your men are fools for coming here and challenging us." Joe's sons, Scrotus and Rictus, warn Dementus, saying, "You and your men will die." They order their men to attack them, leading to a devastating battle between the two sides. A large number of Dementus's men die, and amidst this chaos, Joe's men capture Furiosa. But Dementus intervenes, grabs her, and manages to bring her back and escape with her safely. Afterward, Dementus and his remaining men observe a vehicle carrying food and drink leaving Citadel, heading to a city called Gastown. The vehicle is supposed to deliver food and drink to Gastown in exchange for gas. We learn that Gastown, Ammo Town, and Citadel are all under Joe's rule. After seeing the vehicle, Dementus realizes it's their golden opportunity. The next morning, Dementus hijacks the vehicle as it leaves Gastown and storms the city, successfully taking control of it. Dementus captures the leader of Gastown, cuts off one of his fingers, and sends it to Joe with a message. In the message, he proposes negotiations and discussions. Joe agrees, and Dementus comes to him holding the leader of Gastown. Dementus offers Joe a deal, saying, "Consider me now the leader of Gastown. Give me the food and drink, and I will give you the gas, just like the old leader used to do. If you refuse, I will destroy Gastown entirely because I have planted bombs in the city. If I don't return to the city, my men will blow it up, and there will be no gas left." Joe agrees to the deal because he needs the gas, but says, "In return, I will take Furiosa and keep her with me. I will wait until she grows up and marry her to have a healthy child with her because my previous wives failed to give me a healthy son." Dementus considers the offer because he loves Furiosa but eventually agrees, prioritizing ruling Gastown over Furiosa. Joe's men take Furiosa and place her with Joe's wives. Although Joe's wives were healthy, none of them were able to give birth to a healthy son. Furiosa decides she won't live in that place or become Joe's wife. She starts cutting her hair after noticing that Rictus liked her hair. She makes a wig from her hair and wears it, thinking of a way to escape. At night, Rictus kidnaps Furiosa from her bed with bad intentions, intending to assault her. He notices a star tattoo on her hand, but Furiosa hides her hand and runs away from him. She manages to escape and hides in the dark. Rictus, holding her hair, becomes furious. His brother Scrotus comes and asks him what's wrong. Rictus doesn't want anyone to know he intended to harm Furiosa because Joe might kill him, so he doesn't mention anything to anyone. Furiosa, meanwhile, was hiding beneath them. Years pass, and Furiosa disguises herself as a boy, working in the city and living among the men. She pretends to be mute and never speaks. To this day, no one has discovered her identity. Joe's men discover the vehicle and try to lift it with a crane, but it almost falls, endangering someone's life. Furiosa bravely intervenes, saving the situation. Scrotus respects Furiosa for her actions and promotes her. Rictus almost exposes Furiosa, but luckily, Scrotus intervenes and distracts him. Later, Joe orders the construction of a massive, fast vehicle to transport food and drink. Once the vehicle is ready, Furiosa learns that a man named Jack will drive it. Furiosa sees this as her chance to escape. She ties her motorcycle and some equipment beneath the truck. Jack drives the truck out of Citadel, with Furiosa hiding underneath. Suddenly, bandits attack the truck, trying to seize its contents. Furiosa notices the truck has sustained severe damage underneath. The bandits place bombs under the truck, but Furiosa works to repair the damage, dispose of the bombs, and fend off anyone who approaches the truck from below. However, the number of bandits increases, and they use parachutes to fly in the air, throwing bombs at the truck, gaining control of the battle. Jack kills as many as he can. Furiosa repairs the truck, reveals herself, and fights the bandits, shooting them. Jack discovers Furiosa was sneaking on the truck but doesn't harm her because she's fighting alongside him. Furiosa saves Jack from someone about to kill him and skillfully kills several airborne attackers. In the end, she defeats them all, leaving only her and Jack alive. After Furiosa defeats the bandits, she points her weapon at Jack, wanting to take over driving. But Jack suddenly brakes, causing her to lose balance. He throws her out of the truck, drives off, and leaves her alone in the desert. But after a few minutes, Jack returns to her saying, "Even if I gave you the truck and you drove it, there's nowhere to escape because all the surrounding areas are either owned by Joe or Demantis." Furiosa raises her weapon again. Jack, impressed by her bravery, especially after losing many men in the battle with the bandits, offers her a deal. He says, "I want you to work with me as my assistant. In return, I'll teach you everything about driving on roads like these and how to survive as much as possible. That way, you might eventually gain all the skills you need to escape." Furiosa agrees, lowers her weapon, and they become a duo, completing all missions together. One day, they take the truck to Ammo Town. We learn that in Ammo Town, people work like slaves to produce the largest amount of ammunition. Jack gives them food and drink in exchange for bullets and bombs. The leader of Ammo Town speaks to Jack saying, "Demantis is a very crazy man, and because of his madness, there is destruction happening in the gas city." In the end, Demantis blames the officials, even though he is the cause. I want you to ask Joe to talk to him about this matter. He gives Jack the rifle he requested, and gives Jack the Furiosa rifle so she can defend herself when she escapes. After a few days, Jack and Furiosa go to the gas city to trade food and water for gas. The city is currently in chaos due to Demantis' poor management. Demantis talks to Jack, blaming the chaos on Joe, refusing to take any responsibility himself. He complains about the food and water he receives, claiming it's the worst they have and insufficient. He demands a meeting with Joe and all the leaders to discuss the issue. Jack doesn't object and agrees. Meanwhile, the desperate city residents attack the truck to get food. Amid the chaos, they manage to take the food and water, but Jack doesn't get the gas and quickly leaves, returning to Joe to tell him about the chaos in Gas City. Joe's sons get angry and suggest attacking Gas City and killing Demantis. Joe agrees to the plan and orders Jack and Furiosa to go to the ammunition city to bring as much ammunition as they can for the war against Demantis. Furiosa is happy because she will finally get her revenge on Demantis. In the next scene, Jack notices the drawings on Furiosa's hands and asks her about them. She tells him it's the direction of the stars to the village where she was born and shares her full story with him. Jack sympathizes with her and promises to take her to her village. Furiosa and Jack fall in love. The next day, they both head to Ammunition City but stop midway. Jack orders all the motorcycles to be loaded onto the truck while Furiosa drives one of the cars, with one of Joe's men accompanying Jack in the truck. Furiosa pretends to be surprised by the change, but it was a plan they had agreed upon to escape. They reach Ammunition City, which appeared abandoned. It turns out Demantis had taken over the city and set a trap for Jack. However, Jack realizes this early and warns Furiosa. A fight breaks out between them and Demantis' men. Jack and Furiosa manage to kill many of Demantis' men, but reinforcements arrive, including Demantis himself. Furiosa had a chance to escape, but decides to return to help Jack and take her revenge on Demantis. She searches for him, finds him, and tries to kill him but fails. Demantis retaliates with a missile, but fortunately, Furiosa doesn't die. She falls and ends up underground. Jack destroys the area where Demantis is standing, nearly killing him, but Demantis saves himself. Jack's truck gets stuck in a large pit and is about to fall, but Furiosa arrives just in time to save him. She and Jack escape in a car while their entire team is killed. However, Dementus and his men chase after Jack and Furiosa with a large group. Taking shortcuts, Dementus reaches them, overturns their car, and captures them both. Dementus is furious because they killed many of his men and ruined his plan to lead an army and take over the Citadel City. As a result, Dementus decides to punish them. Furiosa is tied up to prevent her from escaping, while Jack is tortured by Dementus's men and chased by dogs that tear at his body. They continue torturing Jack until they kill him. Dementus then looks at Furiosa, only to find she has cut off her hand and escaped. Furiosa is seen riding a motorcycle and speeding away from them. Dementus and his men prepare to chase her, but he discovers that Furiosa has destroyed his car and damaged its wheels. Only Dementus's men pursue Furiosa, but she manages to escape them. After traveling a long distance, she runs out of fuel and continues on foot until she collapses. She wakes up in a cave beneath the Citadel City. Upon waking, she sees an old woman and human corpses. Furiosa is frightened and runs away, returning to Joe to tell him what happened to her and her battle with Dementus. She warns him that Dementus plans to attack them and take over Citadel City. Joe becomes furious and devises a plan to confront Dementus. He tells them the plan is to trick Dementus into thinking they are heading to Gas City, while Furiosa and his men head to Citadel City, believing it to be unprotected. However, this was a trap set by Joe. He sends a few cars, which quickly change direction and return to Citadel City. A war breaks out between the two sides and lasts for several days. Meanwhile, Furiosa uses this time to craft a metal hand for herself to replace her severed hand. Furiosa cuts her hair again, takes the car missing a wheel, and heads to the battlefield. There, she meets Joe's sons, who need tires for their car to chase and kill Dementus. Furiosa offers them the 3 tires and fuel she has. They install the tires on their car, ready to set off. However, Scrotus and Rictus argue over who will drive the car. Furiosa takes advantage of their distraction, steals the car, and sets off alone, determined to kill Dementus herself. Furiosa catches up with Dementus and kills several of his men with high precision. Dementus divides his remaining men into 3 groups to confuse Furiosa, making it difficult for her to pursue any group. Furiosa follows one group, believing Dementus is with them, but she is mistaken. After eliminating them, she searches for Dementus again and finds him. He runs away, completely alone. Furiosa follows him slowly in her car to exhaust him until he collapses. When he falls to his knees, she gets out of the car, reveals herself, and asks if he remembers her. He doesn't recall her and tries to stab her in the leg, but she quickly hits him in the face, knocking him unconscious. When Dementus wakes up, Furiosa has tied him up and reminds him of what he did to her 15 years ago when he killed her mother in front of her. Dementus claims he doesn't remember her or the incident. Furiosa angrily hits him in the face, trying to make him remember. Dementus still doesn't recall, and Furiosa tells him he ruined her childhood. She raises her weapon towards him and he says, "If you kill me, I'll die and feel nothing." That's a very weak punishment. Furiosa responds, "It doesn't matter. The important thing is, I will have taken my revenge on you." And he mocks her words, saying to her, "I will be dead and you will be alive, remembering the memory that ruins you. My death will do nothing to you except show me mercy, while you will suffer with the memory that ruins you." Furiosa, and she is the little girl who was with him. He says to her, "I am happy that you have grown up and become like me." But Furiosa tells him, "I am not like you in any way." He replies, "On the contrary, it is said that she killed him in the same way Jack was killed, on a tree just as he killed her mother, or she shoot him. But the story closer to the truth is that she left Dementus alive in the city of the Citadel and planted a tree over his body. She left him alive in that state until he died. Years later, Furiosa took Joe's wives and loaded them into a big truck to escape from Joe because none of them wanted to live with him. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.